Hey folks, Russell here, coming from the shop. Today's episode, we're going to do some auxiliary lighting upgrades on our CJ-7. As you can see, I already have spotlights and fog lights installed. The fog lights I initially purchased were some new old stock CBA units. I had to order them from France. When they showed up and I got them installed and got them wired in, when I went to aim them, I noticed that the beam pattern was not a fog pattern, that flat fog pattern. So, what do? Well, you find another set of lights in a fog pattern. So I did, or so I thought. I bought a pair of new old stock from, I don't know, circa late 70s CBA fog units, and the box is marked that they're clear fog beams, and I was going to be okay with that. But upon inspection of the lens assembly, and I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but on all your auxiliary lightings, it'll have an SAE number on it, and this number is SAE 02. Well, fog beams have an F at the first part of that SAE number, so it'll be SAE F2, F3, whatever. So those are not fog lights. Fortunately for CBA units, these are called CBA Series 35 or Series 135, also known as CBA airports. They ran production until early 2000s on these from the 60s, and they pretty much stayed the same. I was able to find, and as you can tell, the lens assembly is separate from the body, so it can be replaced. So I managed to find a set of amber fog lens assemblies and installed them on my bodies. And once again, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it says SAE F2 for fog. So these should give me that flat fog pattern. I know from experience with CBA units, the SAE 02 numeral designation on CBA lighting is what's called a driving beam, so it's very similar to your high beams. My spot lamps are CBA units, and they're an SAE 04, which is what CBA designates for spot lamp, and then an 03 is what they call a pencil beam. So today we're going to pull these CBA 40 driving lamps off, and I put them on the shelf and install our newly rebuilt 135s. So stay tuned, let's get to work. The other advantage to having the smaller rectangle units, the Jeep factory option fog lamps for the CJs were made by Marcal. It's M-A-R-C-H-A-L, another French company. CBA and Marcal are actually have the same parent company, but Marcal had that what they call the masked cat logo on them. And they use the same size as this. As a matter of fact, it uses the same bulb holder on those older units. But the advantage of the smaller rectangle is it's a shorter shorter mount, so it doesn't inhibit the sight line to the blinkers as bad as the round ones do. So that's the other reason to go to this. Let me move the camera. You can see it's a standard 17 mil nut that holds these on. I don't know if we can get down there to see it. So the nut head's way up under here. It's a 17 millimeter. And these units, judging from their the way they're made, and of course you can say they're CBA 40 alphas made in France. So these are probably late 80s, I would say. Yeah, see, these are driving rooms SAE 03s. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. This is in 4K, so maybe you can. I do have another set of 40s. These are probably 70s production. They are also made in France. And these are a fog beam, but I need to rebuild the wiring in them, and I kind of wanted the amber ones anyway. So now through the years, CBA and Markow both have alternated where the wiring comes out in the back. Some of the later units, you had 2 wires coming out here. This particular unit is designed to ground through the chassis, and the wire goes through the mount bolt, so it's perfect for Jeep applications. These also were made with a weird mount straight off the back to mount up on the rear bumper as a rear fog light, which is a kind of a European thing, but not a bad idea in the US if you ask me, the way some people drive. We'll thread that through. Thread our lock washer and nut on. Up. Come on. There we go. Now, I'm not going to aim these today. While it's almost 6 o'clock, the sun, we've still got another 3+ hours of daylight here, so we'll just get them on and get them close, and I'll wait till sometime when I'm out in the dark. I may shoot a video on headlight, fog light aiming, because there's actual specific measurements you're supposed to do. Fog lights are generally, for a Jeep height bumper, you generally aim the fog light 4 inches below its mount point, generally. And that's at 25 feet. All right. So that's installing, and you can see the height difference between the two. So traffic coming from this side will be able to see my blinker and my parking lights a lot easier as opposed to this higher unit. Simple enough to install. I'm happy I found them. I don't like the way that was lined up. Maybe it's right. And honestly, a lot of people will align their fog lights too high because they think they need to see down the road and that the lights are supposed to cut under the fog, and that's really not what they're for. Fog lights are supposed to be really close to relatively close to the vehicle and with a very wide beam pattern so that you can see the lines in the road, the center line, and then the road edge line, which is also known as the fog line, because that's what it's there for. So you could drive slower in foggy, bad weather conditions and see where the edges of the road are and not use your headlights, which will glare back at you. So if it is really, really, really foggy, you should drive with just your fog lights on and not your headlights, and drive very slowly. I'm going to knock the video off from there. Well, you know what? Let's plug it in. Got our light plugged in. Plug that one. So just the left fog light should come on. Ta-da! I can already tell right now the way it's scattering a pattern up onto the wall at that height that these are too high. But like I said, I'll aim them at a better time. My spotlights, however, are very well aimed. So your spotlights, driving lights, auxiliary high beam lights should all at 25 feet mark the point of the center of the bulb. So it'd be, pull up to the wall, make a mark where the center of the bulb is, back up 25 feet, and that's where it should hit. The high beams is the same axis of where they are on the vehicle, but the dip height will be different based on how high the headlight is on the vehicle. On a CJ-7, it's 4 inches down. So 25 feet, my low beam is 4 inches down. When I do a video later on headlight aiming, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, how we make the marks on the walls. That's a video to come in the future. So, and just y'all see my headlights and my high beams. And those aren't any weird xenon LEDs or anything like. They're standard halogen headlamps with relays on them. They're European code headlamps, so they throw a nice beam pattern. And because of my relays, I think right now I've currently got US legal 55 watt low, 60 watt high beams in it, but I could run a much higher wattage bulb in here because of the relay set, and because they're a European code headlight, they won't blind anybody because it throws such a nice pattern. I don't think I need to shoot video on putting the other one in. It's simple enough to change fog lamps. I just kind of wanted to show y'all. So that's all I got for now. If you like this content, go ahead and hit like, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon for future notifications. And as always, there's more to follow.